Side 2 begins with its title song, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. And suddenly, the longest song in the album, at just a few seconds short of 10 minutes. This track alone continues not only Iron Maiden's gradual evolution into prog metal, or at least heavy metal with some prog rock influences, but also the band's continual trend of extended pieces in most of the albums up to this point. Phantom of the Opera from their eponymous debut album, Hallowed Be Thy Name from The Number of the Beast, To Tame a Land from Peace of Mind, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner from Power Slave, as well as Heaven Can Wait and Alexander the Great from Somewhere in Time. And all those just so happen to be products of the sole genius that is bassist Steve Harris. Anyway, this song itself has something of an epic start, mixing both the Dave Murray's and Adrian Smith's guitars and synthesizers that emulate the sounds of a choir, as well as Nico McBrain's strumming a few drums and smashing those riding cymbals. After the first side of the album and its focus of the first Seventh Son, here we now witness the birth of the Seventh Son's Seventh Son. Here they stand, brothers them all the sons divided they fall. Here await the birth of the Son, the seventh, the heavenly, and the chosen one. Boy, this must be the biggest family reunion of all time ever. And possibly the most epic childbirth of all time ever. Here the birth from an unbroken line, born the healer, the seventh, his time. Unknowingly blessed as his as his life unfolds, slowly unveiling the power he holds. Unfortunately, it turns out his powers were just making bananas out of thin air and maybe growing and extending his fingernails, so everyone else were less than impressed. Then there's the chorus in which Bruce repeats the title over and over and over. I guess he and Steve couldn't think of any lines that could rhyme with son or son. Then over time, outside forces watch the choices and progress that the new seventh son makes, the good and evil, seeing what path he would take. Both of them trying to manipulate the use of his powers before it's too late. Turns out the seventh son of the seventh son's powers have an expiration date and it's getting pretty close, so they really want to use it up as much as possible. After another repeating of the repeating title-only chorus, we get into a wicked semi-instrumental section in which the music settles down a bit and delves into this moody and suspenseful atmosphere, almost on par with something like Dire Straits' Private Investigations. Then at the midpoint of the track, we hear Bruce speak this eerie yet mystical poem which pretty much recites the scene of the song here. Today is born the seventh one, born of woman the seventh son, and he in turn of a seventh son. Boy, would things really be awkward if one of those 14 sons turned out to be intersex or hermaphrodite or something. He has the power to heal. However, he can't exactly heal rhinitis, so you, or rather I'm still going to have to put up with the recycling period of sneezing and runny noses. He has the gift of the second sight. He is the chosen one. But does he happen to have a really high level of midichlorian counts, though? So it shall be written, so it shall be done. I mean, seriously, you better have it jotted down because I won't even be bothered to memorize it again. The second half of the song is just pure instrumentality filled up as those instruments and synth choirs start to build up again, sounding almost like something out of a Castlevania game, before we get into another proper bit of rocking, rolling, and riffing. Of course, this could represent the passage of time passing by, as this seventh son of a seventh son grows through childhood and eventually young adulthood even, while his supernatural powers manifest and develop with him. Next is The Prophecy, another song of theirs that I don't think gets talked about or listened to as often as others. Like Infinite Dreams, it starts off rather quiet and gentle at first, but not even 50 seconds in before it gets good and rocking again. Continuing on in this chapter of the life of the seventh son of the seventh son, he suddenly predicts an impending disaster that looms over the whole of the village. So, just a village? Not a kingdom, a country, or even a whole planet? Just one village? Okay. So he tries to warn anyone and everyone of such a threat. So it's kind of like the premise and impetus of Marvel Civil War 2. Only this is actually really good, and that one, not so much. I heard the cry of the seven whistlers. Lucifer smiles, looks on and waits. And boy, he must really be haunted and tormented by that hi-ho song. I'll take your life in my hands. Your fate, your fortunes is in my visions. And your money in my bank account. Oh, I mean, your safety in my hands, and totally not a scam or anything. No, sorry. Heed what I say, and you'll see what will be. Please listen to me. I mean, seriously, I've seen a test screening of that live-action Lilo and Stitch remake, and trust me, you're not missing much aside from the horrors that I had to witness. And after another instrumental bit, lasting for about 1 minute and 10 seconds, including its own kicking and licking guitar solo, the disaster had been done, and they all put blame on the next seventh son himself, believing he had brought down a curse on them. Jeez, talk about gaslighting and scapegoating. He clearly warned you of such a bad thing, and probably gave you time to prepare and evacuate and stuff, but you all chose to ignore his words. Don't point your fingers on him because of your incompetence, you bunch of numpties. And so, he goes off, continuing to live with the torment of not only suffering similar visions and nightmares that his father had, like in Infinite Dreams and Can I Play with Madness, but now also the fact that he had failed the very task he was supposed to do to begin with. He's the one who's cursed, no one believed in his true prophecy, and now it's too late. Then the song ends in a similar way it began, a calm yet sorrowful guitar melody that goes on for about 20 or 30 seconds before fading off into the void and darkness of nothingness. It's quite a downer ending already. But however, it's obviously not over just yet. In fact, it's only going to get slightly worse, just to say the least, and putting it mildly. After that is the Clairvoyant, starting off with a lone and eerie bass line that's soon followed by a few guitar riffs and eventually the drums as well, and it's quite an opening. It's here where we reach the potentially breaking point for our chosen one. No one believes in his visions or even blames him for such, and being left alone in absolute solitude and feeling the sweat breaking on his brow, even he starts to question what is reality. Is it me or is it shadows that are dancing on the wall? Well, if there's anything I learned from ELO, it's the two-step dance in the hall, and they're all I see since you've been gone. Or something to do with Mike Oldfield and Crises. Wink wink, I'll probably review that very soon. Is it a dream or is it now? Is it a vision or normality I see before my eyes? I mean, I really need to book an appointment with a local optician. He also starts to feel as if his powers keep getting stronger each and every day, to the point that he worries that he won't be able to control such anymore. As he puts it in the chorus, there's a time to live, to die, and to meet the Maker. But isn't it strange that as soon as you're born, you're dying? Quite a bleak yet maybe even a bit ambiguous way of looking at life, wouldn't you say? The idea that from the very moment we're born, we're already beginning to slowly die, regardless of however it may be of. Anyways, after a decent guitar solo by Dave Murray, we get to the second verse, in which Bruce recaps the general abilities of our seventh son. Just by looking through your eyes, he could see the future penetrating right in through your mind. See the truth and see your lies. But of course, for all his power, for all his clairvoyance, he couldn't foresee his own demise. For this particular track, Steve Harris was influenced by the then recent death of psychic medium Doris Stokes, wondering if she could really see and predict the future. If she could do so, would she have not predicted her own passing as well? Part of me likes to imagine this would be something that several fictional characters, and possibly even real life people, who may have powers and abilities to see into the future, may have gotten through at some point. Perhaps most, if not all of them, have foreseen their own eventual and inevitable deaths, but have kept it a secret all to themselves and no one else ever. Bit of a fridge horror moment, if I were to put it. That aside, though, the music definitely captures that sense of mood and anxiety, especially when the chorus changes the pace, and that underlying synth helps in enhancing the overall music. Then by the end, Bruce sings, "I feel reborn again," either meaning he had possibly found new clarity and enlightenment, or had gone completely delusional. Take a bet on which one it might be. And so, our album concludes with "Only the Good Die Young." This is where we come to the end of the story and the mortal life of the seventh son of the seventh son. While the clairvoyant points out whether or not he could see his own death and downfall, this song here pretty much implies that such would eventually happen anyway. The wisdom of ages, the lies and outrages concealed. The time it waits for no man. This man's future is revealed and his fate is sealed. If he were to cancel tomorrow somehow, he would be pardoned by the undead, flying in the face of prophets as he mocks the morality plays. The moon is red and bleeding. Must be that time of the month. The sun is burnt and black. Did someone overcook the sun? The book of life is silent, no turning back. Basically, he's just trying to watch that Book of Life movie, but the remote's missing and the TV's stuck on mute. And as the chorus puts it ever so simply and clearly, only the good die young, and all the evil seem to live forever. As if this man, born with precognition and other special abilities, is finally shuffling off the mortal coil, leaving behind the immortal evils of the world. It's very much like The Evil That Men Do, and how it conveys similar themes. Then we get some more nice galloping guitar solos and riffs before the second verse, in which Bruce describes the soul of a man, a mystery madman, a victim of cruel charade, and an innocent pawn in an endgame that resulted in one more stalemate. Is death another birthday? A way to kiss your dreams goodbye? Do the undead live within us and look through our eyes? I mean, if a death does indeed lead into a reincarnation, then you could call it another birthday in a way. But even still, the seventh son finally embraces death, whether it be from suicide, natural causes, or some other case, leaving us with our bishops and our guilt. The worst thing is that he took all the knights, rooks, and pawns with him. So until the next time, have a good sin. What a send-off of a line that is. And don't even get me started on the way the guitars and drums all crumble together into a kind of climax that only a great hard rocking heavy metal band like Maiden or AC/DC can do. In a way, whether this was intentional or not, both sides of the album seem to run parallel. Not that story-wise they're going on at the exact same time, obviously, but rather in terms of an overall structure, the sides actually seem to mirror each other. Moonchild and the title track both have the birth of the Seventh Son and his Seventh Son, respectively. Infinite Dreams and The Prophecy demonstrate the character's precognitive abilities and visions, and how they're being affected by such, usually negatively. Can I Play with Madness and The Clairvoyant are both singles that show them at their breaking point, a moment of desperation. And lastly, The Evil That Men Do and Only the Good Die Young go to show that the good that people do would be short and temporary, while the evil not only live on, but they live forever. Bit of a cynical and pessimistic perspective, but still. And the song and the album close out in the same way it opened in. The familiar Seven Deadly Sin poem, sung again by Bruce, and that same guitar strumming. However, here, the line, "And your trip begins," is omitted. Instead, a faint, hearty, yet sinister chuckle could be heard, as if the devil had finally had the last laugh. Such a bookend like this can indicate that either we've ended up right back where we started, or that the cycle may repeat again, in another time and another life. This album here is really good, not only as a heavy metal album, but as a concept album as well. The folks behind Iron Maiden had essentially taken an idea that already could have been fit enough for a song or two and expanded it accordingly. Not too vague, nor too overly detailed either, but rather getting its point and themes across along so well. You could feel the passage of time going by in between each track, and even during the music itself as it plays on. Songs like Infinite Dreams and the title song definitely continue to demonstrate their prog influences with the use of extended instrumental bits and philosophical lyrics. And songs like Moonchild, Can I Play with Madness, The Evil That Men Do, and The Clairvoyant still manage to be short, sweet, and succulent pieces, whether as part of an overall concept or as their own individual tracks. It's honestly one of the more well-structured and well-balanced records that I could think of, in my opinion. I would consider each decade for Iron Maiden to be an age of sorts. The 1980s, consisting of their eponymous debut album, Killers, The Number of the Beast, Peace of Mind, Power Slave, Somewhere in Time, and Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, being the golden age. The 1990s, consisting of No Prayer for the Dying, Fear of the Dark, The X Factor, and Virtual 11, being their silver age. The 2000s, consisting of Brave New World, Dance of Death, and A Matter of Life and Death, being their bronze age. And the 2010s and 2020s onward, with The Final Frontier, The Book of Souls, and Senjutsu being their modern age. And so far, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son seems to be the only actual concept album that Iron Maiden have made so far, as far as I know at least. With their developing prog rock influences and ever-increasing lengths of later albums, they could do a big heavy metal rock opera again, like Nightwish's Imaginarium. They could do it, I'm sure of it. But as for this album, I really enjoy it. But being an Iron Maiden record, of course I'm going to enjoy it. But what say you folks? Do you think this is one of Iron Maiden's best albums yet? Or do you prefer another one of theirs? And what be your favourite Iron Maiden album and song? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like this video if you may like it already, subscribe in case you haven't, and spread the word to your friends. What else to say? What else? what else is there to say but up the irons? Next time, it's going to be another top list video. Something I hadn't done in a while. And one about favourite and nostalgic theme tunes from our childhoods.